The air at the reception was thick with the scent of gardenias and quiet judgment. I stood near the dessert table, a silent observer at my brother Kyle's lavish wedding, when he descended upon me with a flock of his coworkers. He was already flushed with champagne and self-importance. "Hey, everyone," he announced, his voice carrying. "This is my little sister Isabella. She's still doing that internet thing from home. No real job." He chuckled, nudging a colleague. "I keep telling her to get serious, like me." My name is Isabella. I'm 29 years old and I am a digital strategy consultant. I specialize in corporate rebranding and crisis management for mid to large companies. My work dictates whether brands thrive or die in the modern marketplace. But in my family's eyes, I was perpetually the little sister playing on the computer, while my brother Kyle, 34, wore his middle management marketing job like a crown. I worked in sweatpants from my home office. To my family, his business card was proof of success. My six-figure contracts and industry reputation were invisible, merely that internet thing. The humiliation had been building for years, crescendo on his wedding day. Weeks prior, I'd offered to handle the digital invitations and wedding website, my professional expertise offered as a gift. Kyle had laughed. "No offense, but we hired professionals. This is important." His fiancée, Vanessa, added with a sweet, condescending smile. "We need someone with real credentials, not just someone who knows Canva." I didn't push. What was the point of explaining my role in multi-million-dollar brand turnarounds to people who'd already decided my career was a hobby? The seating chart was the first public relegation. I was placed at table 12, a satellite table with distant cousins and plus ones, far from the family's nucleus. A cousin whispered, "Aren't you Kyle's sister? Why are you over here?" I had no answer. Later, during the formal photos, my mother gently pulled me back as the photographer called for immediate family. "Dear, they want the important shots first. Kyle's boss and colleagues are here." I stood to the side, watching my own family pose without me. Then came Kyle's toast. He thanked our parents for always believing in me, his groomsmen for being successful, driven guys. Finally, he raised his glass toward my distant table. "And thanks to my little sister for coming. Hopefully, my example will inspire her to finally figure out what she wants to be when she grows up." The room rippled with polite, pitying laughter. I felt my face burn, shrinking into my chair. The final straw was a request disguised as a familial duty. My mother approached me after the speeches. "Kyle mentioned their honeymoon photographer fell through. Since you're good with computers, maybe you could edit their photos for free, as a real gift." When I explained, again, that I didn't do photography, but corporate strategy, she waved a hand. "It's all computer stuff, isn't it? Besides, you have free time working from home." Kyle joined in, laughing. "Come on, sis, do something useful. You're always on your laptop anyway." I retreated to the bathroom, locking the door against the wave of hurt. Then my phone buzzed. A text from my business partner, Jenna. "Congrats on finalizing the Anderson Corp contract. You're changing the entire industry." The words were a lifeline, a reminder of a parallel universe where I was respected, even revered. I took a deep breath, straightened my dress, and returned to the reception with a quiet, unshakable dignity. I decided to leave early. As I gathered my coat, a commotion stirred near the entrance. A distinguished older man had arrived, apologizing for his tardiness. It was Thomas Grayson, Senior VP of Marketing at Kyle's firm. Kyle rushed to him, his demeanor shifting to obsequious eagerness. "Mr. Grayson, you made it." What Kyle didn't know, what my entire family had never bothered to learn, was the true scale of my internet thing. For 5 years, I'd been quietly building a consultancy with a client roster that included Fortune 500 companies. I valued privacy and substance over showmanship, so I didn't flaunt it on social media. And bound by a strict NDA, I hadn't been able to discuss my newest, most critical project, a complete digital transformation for a struggling mid-sized marketing firm. That firm was Kyle's. For 2 months, I'd been the lead consultant on the project that would determine the company's survival. Our official kickoff meeting was scheduled for the coming Tuesday. Mr. Grayson was scanning the room, a tablet in his hand. His eyes passed over the crowd and landed on me. Recognition dawned. He began walking directly toward me. Kyle, confused, trailed behind him. "Mr. Grayson, that's just my sister." Grayson ignored him, extending his hand to me with a respectful smile. "Miss Isabella, a pleasure to finally meet you in person." I shook his hand firmly. "Mr. Grayson, likewise." Kyle's face was a blank slate of confusion. "You two know each other?" Grayson turned to him, genuinely surprised. "Your sister is the lead consultant on our digital transformation project. We've been in weekly strategy sessions." He looked back at me, his voice filled with professional admiration. "I was just on a call with the CEO. He's thrilled with your preliminary report, called it exactly the lifeline we needed." The color drained from Kyle's face. "But she works from home. She doesn't have an office." Grayson chuckled, as if Kyle had said something charmingly naive. "Most top-tier consultants operate remotely, Kyle. That's standard for the expertise we're engaging." He turned his attention back to me, discussing timeline adjustments, his tone of collaborative respect. A small crowd had gathered, Kyle's colleagues, his new in-laws, my parents. Whispers snaked through them. "That's the Isabella? The one who salvaged the Stellar Brands crisis last year? He's been calling her a failure all night. She's literally the architect of our biggest project." My father approached Kyle, bewildered. "What's going on?" One of Kyle's coworkers answered for him, voice laced with irony. "Your daughter is the consultant we hired to save the company. She's kind of a big deal." My mother stared, her worldview cracking. "But she works from home." The coworker shrugged. "So do half our VPs. It's about output, not office space." I concluded my brief professional discussion with Mr. Grayson. "I'll see you and the executive team on Tuesday." He replied, the honorific landing in the silent reception hall with the weight of a gavel. I picked up my coat. Kyle finally found his voice, scrambling after me. "Isabella, wait, I didn't know." I stopped and turned. The room was watching. "I know you didn't, Kyle. You never asked. You only ever assumed." "But you never said," he stammered. "I tried, multiple times. You laughed every time. You decided my worth based on whether it looked like success to you. My success didn't need your validation to exist." My parents clustered nearby, a mixture of shock and dawning shame on their faces. "If we'd known," my mother started. I finished her sentence gently. "Would you have, what, respected me? I'm the same person I was an hour ago. The only thing that's changed is your perception." My father, ever practical, mumbled, "We just worried you weren't stable." I met his gaze. "I own my home outright. I make triple what Kyle does. I've been stable for years. You just chose not to see it." I looked at my brother one last time. "I hope you enjoy your honeymoon, Kyle." I paused, letting the next word settle. "I'll see you on Tuesday, at your office, where I'll be presenting the strategic direction for your company's future to the entire executive board." Then I walked out, leaving the glittering wedding behind, the silence in my wake louder than any toast. In the weeks that followed, I led the project to a resounding success. I was scrupulously professional with Kyle at work, polite, collaborative, and utterly impervious to any familial dynamic. He attempted several halting apologies. I accepted them with clear, firm boundaries. "You don't get to decide my worth." The family equilibrium had irrevocably shifted. My parents suddenly developed a keen interest in my computer work, but their curiosity felt like too little, too late. I answered their questions politely, but without the need for their approval that had once defined me. Kyle was humbled. The brother who had mocked my lack of an office now occasionally, hesitantly, asks for career advice. I offer it not as a victor gloating, but as a professional. The lesson was never about vengeance. It was about visibility. That wedding taught me a profound truth. Success is not a performance for an audience of skeptics. It is a quiet, relentless building of something real. My brother spent years mocking a silhouette, a caricature he'd drawn of me, but the joke was never on me. It was on the narrowness of his own imagination. And in the end, the most powerful validation wasn't the stunned look on his face or the newfound respect in my parents' eyes. It was the quiet, unassailable knowledge I carried with me as I left that night. I had built a kingdom they couldn't see, and its gates were never theirs to open.